welcome to another segment of the M&A Talk with me, Marcus. And today I'm joined by Nick Pilley.
Hey Marcus, how are you?
I'm very good, Nick. And Bruce Hakatiswe. Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Marcus. Thank you for having me.
And both Nick and Bruce work with the businessesforsale.com M&A Vault in different capacities. Nick really runs the M&A Vault in terms of its transactional processes, and Bruce works with the US business broker market. And today, what I'm really interested to talk to you both is how we work with foreign buyers, i.e. buyers outside of the territory where the business is located.
No, that's a really good point, Marcus. And as you know, of course, businessesforsale.com is a huge international website. You know, we have over 56,000 live listings at any one time. And that does attract international traffic, not just obviously from Europe, but from Asia, Australia, US, Canada, South America, and so on and so forth. And we have seen a lot of success, actually. Last year, we sold a hops and brewing business located in British Columbia. A gentleman from the UK saw that business, on our website and made an inquiry, traveled with his family to come over and see that business, and then attained the necessary visas that were due for Canada. And obviously the business met the requirements there, that he was able to go through with that acquisition within sort of a 6-month period. And he's now successfully running and managing that business. So we do get to see, a lot of buyers all the time. In fact, we have another 2 deals currently. We have an area of land in the Yukon, which is the biggest alluvial gold reserve in North America, over 12,000 acres. And that's currently being purchased by a Belgium company that again saw the advertisement that we had running on site. And we also currently have a deal with a gentleman from Canada actually purchasing a business in Trinidad and Tobago, an IT company we're selling there as well. So to answer your question, it happens all the time. We work with buyers. It doesn't matter where they're from, which country they're looking in. We can make these transactions work, obviously, so long as you have an attorney in place as well that can obviously help guide with some of that process. But for us, it's a common thing. So yeah, it's very good.
And Bruce, I'm particularly fascinated by this traffic of business buyers into the United States. I remember years ago when we first established businessesforsale.com, one of our first big exciting deals was a buyer from Sweden buying a chain of gas stations in Virginia. And at the time, it caused a lot of excitement, this idea that there was this cross global traffic. But America is a big draw in terms of its visa status and what it means when you buy business. You work with so many business brokers across the United States. And obviously, we work with a lot of buyers that are looking to buy businesses from those brokers who represent those businesses. What's the process, Bruce, when looking to go to America?
It's a very simple process, actually. Once you get around what is required, there are typically 2 ways to do it. There is a visa called E2 treaty visa, and another one is an EB5 immigrant visa, which is an investor visa. And both these have slightly different requirements. But majority of the people who tend to buy businesses in the US tend to come from Europe. But we are seeing the rest of the world jumping onto that opportunity as well in the US. But typically what used to be the case is you used to have specialized brokers who would have a specialized system in place that includes immigration lawyers and other consultants that would help them to help that transition from a buyer coming out of the US. Now, it seems to be very prevalent that majority of brokers that we work with do actually go after businesses that do provide or meet the requirement of those 2 visa requirements. So it makes the process from inquiry to providing proof of funds, and all of that very quickly. Typically, it'll take anywhere between 6 to 12 months to do this, but there are ways to make it a lot quicker now. And we're seeing more transactions happening through buyers looking for international investments from all over the world going into the US. It's a booming sector in the business brokers industry at the minute.
And I suspect that's what makes businessesforsale.com an attractive website for a lot of these intermediaries and brokers, in that we do harness that global traffic. And do you see, did you see that continuing, that concept of going to America and buying a business? Or, because that's always been a popular way into America. Is that still have the same momentum?
It absolutely does. And I think the buzzword right now is South Asia investors. There is actually a lot more South Asian investors that are looking to invest in the US and Canada. And that is a new, like the South Koreans. I could name so many regions in that particular part of the world.
And
But the
you
South
think
Asian
that's a new sort of increased sort of market? Because I
absolutely.
remember when we started the business, when businessesforsale.com started years ago, the big movement was UK buys into Florida, for example, because obviously a lot of British people would holiday in Florida, and then they would want to naturally sort of relocate to Florida. So what you're saying is, from South Asia, would you include Thailand, South Korea, the Philippines? You're talking about that whole region now looks at the US as an opportunity to move and relocate and buy a business and establish a new life.
Absolutely. There is a surge, I think, the last 12 months of interest in that coming from that specific region. And as I said, most brokers now do look at businesses when they're onboarding them or representing them. Do they qualify for those two criteria, the E2 visa and the EB visa?
And with the
just to jump in as well, sorry, on that point that Bruce made, we do represent a lot of businesses that are for sale by owner as well. So it's not just broker businesses that are sold to international buyers. There's a lot of obviously, for sale by owner businesses that we help and oversee that sort of facilitation. In fact, just last week, we closed on a deal with a supplement contract manufacturing business in Dallas, Texas, from a buyer from China. So yeah, obviously that falls right in line with obviously, the South Asian or the Asian influence of buyers obviously coming into the US as well.
That's great. Sorry, Bruce, carry
Max.
on. Sorry to cut across you. Jump in.
Just to add on to that, I was interestingly speaking to another franchise broker only last week who has a particular brand that is synonymous with South Asian investors. And one of the things he was asking me is, if I were to bring this and have it marketed in both markets, the US and the UK, would I still continue to attract this investors? And it is typical that we still do that. Even in the UK, we still do get South Asian influence or investors coming in. So it is growing. It's not stopping. It's not slowing down.
That's great. Thank you, guys. Well, great insight into how businessesforsale.com really does embrace the world quite uniquely. And it's something we are passionate about doing, which is connecting buyers and sellers across the globe. Guys, always good to talk to you. Have a good rest of the week. And thank you again for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'll also be dropping a couple of links to the visa requirements for entry into the United States with some of our businessesforsale.com articles about relocation.